Okay, so let's talk about something for a minute. I was thinking about this when I was working with somebody not too long ago, and I kept thinking about it, kept thinking about it. I thought, we're going to talk about that for a second. And that is this. We do a lot of talking about boundaries. We do a lot of talking about difficult people. We get a lot of calls. Get a lot of calls about various dynamics in difficult relationships. I don't know how many, but we've had a lot of calls and people say, well, I'm married to somebody with narcissistic personality disorder, or my, sister, or my mother, or somebody's narcissistic personality disorder, and they do all these things, and there's all these kind of dynamics, and then there's other kinds of personality disorders as well that do all sorts of difficult things. That's what a personality disorder does, right? Difficult stuff. And without labeling anybody, because I'm not there, I can't ever do that, I can recognize a lot of times when they're talking about patterns of behavior in the interactions. And with a difficult person, a couple of the patterns of behavior that we get calls about and that you might have experienced are things like invalidation. Okay. You tell them, what you did hurt me. And they say, well, that doesn't hurt. Or that, no, you're making a bigger deal out of that. And there's some sort of invalidation of your experience, right? Or a minimization. They make it smaller than it really is, or deny it. Or you try to share something about how you want them to do something differently. You want to be treated a different way, or not treated in a way you are being treated, or even take the next step in your relationship and you get defensiveness, right? Well, that's because or how can you say that? Or some kind of, there's a diversion technique to get the blame off of them and somewhere out there. Another one is, you hear the term gaslighting, and that's where people just get, I've had so many people over the years, they're talking to somebody, and they'll even grab their head like this and they go, I don't know what it is. I get this kind of, and I start to get confused. And well, that's the whole tactic that they're trying to do, is they're trying to confuse you and blame it on you and alter your reality. I mean, I've literally seen people like start to question themselves whether or not they actually saw somebody or heard somebody do something. Now, we don't all have perfect memories, but sometimes things are pretty clear and people can get talked out of their own heads. And so a lot of times when somebody confronts somebody with something, especially in a significant relationship, marriage or something like that, or family, and the person comes back and basically tries to debate you or negate it or kind of make you prove it or, justify it in some way. That's the key to getting hooked. Okay. Especially in setting limits or sharing something. For example, you say to somebody, well, as we've been talking about this and we keep arguing about it and we're not getting anywhere, and I think we need to go talk to a third party. I think we need to go get some marriage counseling. And they say, well, we don't need that. We can figure out why, and you might need that, and blah 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 blah. And there's all of this, why would that doesn't make any sense? What is it that, and you get all that stuff. Well, now you've been given the bait to have to justify what you're feeling or thinking. All right. Once you do that, you're done, because now you've taken the bait and there's no way out of that rabbit hole. There's just not. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go in your head and I want you to get a sentence to stick there. Okay. When it comes to setting boundaries and saying, I want this or I don't want that, or I don't agree with that, those kinds of very, very clear statements of where you're coming from, you don't have to justify that. You don't have to justify how you're feeling. That's how you feel. You don't have to justify what you don't want to do. Now, in many cases, it's not a justification. It's a good explanation and sharing. If my wife says to me, "Hey, why don't we go visit so and so or do this?" And I go, I don't really want to do that." And she says, "Well, why not?" Well, that's a good conversation to have. A lot of times, well, I just, I'm tired. I just got in from this trip, or I don't like them, whatever it is. And then we have something to talk about, and I say, but well, let me know what you're wanting. I mean, and we work it out. We find a way to meet each other's, wishes some way. That's fine. See, that's an explanation and an invitation to intimacy and connection and understanding and morphing. And she might even change my mind. Okay. But that's very different than an attack that's designed to make you have to justify and talk you out of that. I don't want to go because I'm too tired. Okay. Or whatever it is. So when people start to feel like, I got to justify this, I got to prove it. Oh no, I'm in court. This is the prosecutor. And then you're going to lose yourself because you've given power to that person that you don't have to give to them. They don't even have anyway. Remember this, you hear it all the time. It's a great statement. No is a complete sentence. No, I don't want to do it. Why not? I just don't want to do it. I mean, I can tell you why, but if you can't accept it, then just leave it at this. I don't want to do it. So just think about that. The next time you get into a squabble of, feeling like I'm coming to you with my reality and you're trying to talk me out of my reality as opposed to help me understand more or explain some reasons that would help me shift my reality. So that's different than the attack or the assault on your experience of the truth. I love it when people help me change my truth, expand my truth, okay? Enlarge my truth, negate my truth in a good way, okay? If I'm thinking the earth's flat and they come and help me see that it's not flat, it's round, at least last time they checked, and they can show me, wow, that's awesome. I've grown. If I'm telling you I'm hurting or I need something or want something or I don't like how things are going, you're not going to tell me anything that makes that not true. Now you might tell me a bunch of stuff that can help me get out of that, but you don't have to fight. You don't have to fight to justify that you're hurting.